Gita, over to you. You have been central in terms of not only where we are today, but also in shaping the ICPD vision in 1994. And as somebody that has been deeply involved in these discussions for over 3 decades now, and involved in negotiations in the CPD at the moment, what do you make about fragmentation of issues and the SRHR agenda? We see often a cherry picking of an approach that is happening. How do you think?
Thanks very much, Rajat, and thanks also to the organizers for inviting me to this. I want to, with complete honesty and humility, say that meeting that happened in Rio had a steering committee of 18 different organizations and a huge mobilization. So many, many, many organizations were involved in making it happen. I can also say that it is my belief and the belief of many that without that meeting, the ICPD Programme of Action probably would not have happened. And one of the reasons I just want to say very quickly, which is very apropos what we're talking about here, is this tension between development on the one hand and sexual and reproductive health and rights on the other, which we keep seeing resurface in many different ways. Well, it was there right then. There were those who said, don't focus on SRHR, it is a northern agenda, or as we used to call first world agenda. Why aren't we talking about health broadly, which we all need, and which is part of the development agenda? So one of the things that we tried to do in that meeting was to say that these two are part of one and the same thing, that they absolutely are connected together and need to be seen together. You can't have SRHR without the right to development, and you cannot have development without bodily autonomy and integrity and sexual and reproductive health and rights. And I think that the ICPD Programme of Action is as much a remarkable document on development as it is on sexual and reproductive health and rights. But having said that, let me quickly get to your question about cherry picking, Rajat. And by the way, you said you are responsible for why we are here, how we are here today, this moment. I'm not. I take no responsibility for the mess that we are in at this point. But having said that, I think it's pretty straightforward what has been going on. In terms of sexual and reproductive health and health services particularly, which is where a lot of the cherry picking happens, and also on rights, and I'll speak in a moment about that. The Programme of Action's para 7.6 specified a package of services. In fact, at that time, it wasn't even intended to be the last word on services. There were many things that didn't get included, which were absolutely critical, and so got put into an other category, but which in some countries would be absolutely crucial for people. Fistulae, for example, which make the lives of women who suffer from vesicovaginal fistulae miserable, are not part of that package in an explicit way. And yet we know there are parts of the world where they are an absolutely critical health and rights issue. So this package was never intended to be the last word on things. But there are those who would bowdlerize and chop up that package itself. And so what's going on in that? The package, it's the attempt to cherry pick that package involves a set of things. It's an attempt to try and say we can talk about health without talking about rights. It's an attempt to fragment rights. So we will recognize the right to prenatal care, antenatal care, postnatal care, but we will not recognize the right to abortion and the right to be taken care of, whatever the legal status. If a woman has an abortion, she has the right to post-abortion care. It's the attempt to not to recognize the critical role of poverty in the failure of rights, of sexual and reproductive health and rights. And that is especially ironic because a lot of the people who today oppose SRHR are the ones who wax eloquent about poverty eradication and poverty removal. And I want them to understand loud and clear that those who suffer and die from inadequate care on sexual and reproductive services, including abortion, are in fact the poor, the marginalized, and those who you speak so eloquently about in terms of the removal of poverty. And the last one, I think, that is, it's an attempt to break the reproduction sexuality connection. Now, as far as I know, you ain't got reproduction without sexuality among human beings, not today. Maybe in some science fiction future it may happen, but not today. And if that is the case, then what affects our rights in the area of reproduction are going to be rights in the area of sexuality as well. And I think, therefore, that's the reason that these are together. That means that it's not just about the removal of some harmful practices, it's about bodily integrity and autonomy. And it means that educating not only young people, I would say, I think older people need education about sexuality as well. The understanding, clear understanding about human sexuality and what it entails means that you can protect not only children through teaching them good touch, bad touch, but it also means that you can protect people from being the victims of sexual violence. And it also means that sexuality has to be recognized for what it is, a beautiful part of human existence. And so trying to separate that out and say, oh, we don't talk about sexuality. Come on, people, you know, it's part of every human being's life. So let me stop with that and say, and get back to you.
Thank you.